Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Wrestling Challenge Review Series for October 25th, 1986. We don't have as many of these as I'd like, but we do have over 1,000 audios for you to check out in a variety of topics, both the modern day junk, and I'm sorry, most of it is junk, and the history of world class Mid South Wrestling Challenge, wrestling superstars, and hopefully a bunch more as time goes by. We are moving, as mentioned, into October 25th. Morocco and Cowboy Bob Orton versus Mike Kelly and Kelly Kiniski. Mike Kelly, for those unfamiliar, is the enhancement talent name of Shane Douglas, or the man who later became known as Shane Douglas, and that's kind of an interesting thing there. Kiniski, of course, the son of Gene Kiniski, former NWA champion and guy who is quite around. We kind of see Morocco looking rather scruffy in this particular deal, and kind of, seeing things cut off by Morocco. Morocco and Orton, a weird alliance, and I only say weird because, well, you wouldn't imagine them to be hugely aligned. Orton, a guy who I think is a bit underrated. Tag off, Kelly comes in, gets shot in the head, and then we see kind of a suplex vertical by Orton. Tag back into Morocco. Morocco hits the inverted tombstone pile driver and gets a victory. A wrestling rebuttal with King Harley Race. Harley Race talks about being the king of wrestling, talks about wanting Hogan and being a former champion without necessarily talking about, the NWA. But anybody who followed the sport knows that's where it's coming from. Hillbilly Jim and Al Navarro facing off against each other here. Navarro, a relatively regular enhancement talent, not a guy to write home about or anything like that, but not bad either. Hillbilly Jim, been around for about maybe a year, maybe a year and a half, not too much longer than that. He runs in wrestling for through about 1990, does Hillbilly Jim, and then manages to do some behind the scenes stuff for several years after that, including but not limiting to coming back to manage the Godwins for a little while in the mid to late 90s. Hillbilly hits a couple of tackles, and then we see a go behind by Navarro into a hammerlock. Hillbilly has some trouble getting out of that, although does break free eventually. Some headbutts by Hillbilly Jim, and then an Irish whip. Among other things, kick to or a big boot right into the head of Navarro. Manages the Irish whip and a big bear hug, which today wouldn't be a finish, but here it was. Jake Roberts talks about being afraid of no one, being willing to take on anyone and take out anyone as needed. And Jake Roberts, a masterful promo, worth going out of your way to check this out. He kind of has a major, run there. And that's kind of a good run in that regard. Butch Reed and Dan Driggers. Dan Driggers, relatively a new enhancement talent. Butch Reed, of course, at the time managed by Doctor of Style Slick. That is Slick's first run. Butch Reed and the Junkyard Dog, who had feuded in Mid-South for quite a while, are going to renew that rivalry here. Reed sends his adversary down off of a power move, kind of off of a hammerlock and a side headlock take around there. Drigger's not very impressed with Reed. Reed not very impressed with him, so it all kind of comes out in the wash. Short shot by Reed to the midsection. Reed stomps down on the man, kind of gets going in a positive direction, pulls the man up, and Reed, who never really gets over in the WWF, I mean, he's here through WrestleMania 4, I think gone by SummerSlam 88, so leaves in the spring of 88, but never really goes terribly far. Actually, I think more known on a national level for his WCW run with Doom. Top rope clothesline by Reed and a win there. Honky Tonk Man talks about his favorite musical run. He has not executed his heel turn yet, although that is coming. Speaking of coming, is a vignette about the nature of buying a car if you're the machines. They kind of are larger talents, more interested in Japanese cars. The vignette kind of poking fun at the machines and the preference they have for Japanese branding. I believe this is the debut of Dino Bravo. Pretty sure that that's the case. Not particularly a notable debut. Bravo also not really having an amazing run there. Dino Bravo with black hair, not dyed blonde yet. Bravo, a member, kind of the third member of the Dream Team against Siva Afi, one of the Island and Hawaii family, I guess, runners who does not have as big a run in the national area as he could have. Siva Afi, always a personal favorite of mine. I liked his leaner body style and a bit more of the build, but obviously this match here is to put Bravo over strong and does exactly that. Big hip toss and a body slam by Bravo. Bravo managing to get up after being drop kicked and the like. Johnny V on the outside, who is endorsing Bravo, which allows Valentine and Bravo to team a little bit, or at least that's the idea after WrestleMania 3. Bravo hits a running clothesline. Bravo, of course, big in the Canadian territories, Montreal area, but coming in here because that's where the money is in the 86, 87 era. Hot shot by Bravo, and things are not going the way that he has planned. Irish whip and double chop there by Bravo, and again we see Bravo with a continuation of a run, double chop there, and ultimately Bravo is able to drop the knee. Kind of Siva Afi actually gets a little high on a cross body, doesn't get all he wants. Side suplex by Bravo, and he wins. Dino is successful in this particular endeavor. A teaser of the eventual battles between Jake the Snake and the Honky Tonk Man in the Snake Pit. Honky is still a baby face here. That only lasts a couple more weeks, and the Snake makes fun of him for being basically an Elvis ripoff, and that's kind of the extent of that promo. Killer Bees against Moondog Spot and Jimmy Jack Funk. Odd pairing there, but I think it has more to do with not having necessarily enough teams for television that are challengers or challenging for baby faces. And so Moondog Spot and B. Brian Blair start off. Spot cuts him off with a knee to the midsection, hooks up with a inverted hammerlock, and then Blair takes him back to Brunzell. Brunzell continues to go pretty assertively, aggressively towards his adversary, and a deep running, well, not necessarily running, but a deep monkey flip, and then Jimmy Jack Funk comes in. Funk and Blair kind of going at it. Body slam by Blair into the armbar. Cut off by the Moondog with a backbreaker that ultimately doesn't lead to him doing as well as would be expected. Tag off by back to Jimmy Jack Funk. Funk again with the body slam. Kind of aggressive here. Hits the shoulder breaker, and Funk goes for the cover, excuse me. And then manages a slam, and Moondog Spot not very happy with any of that. go behind and the double clap of the ears by Brunzell. Brunzell sends his man off the ropes, hits a high knee, and eventually the Killer Bees do some more double team maneuvers, including the kind of butt bump by B. Brian Blair, and the Moondog comes in, all four guys in the ring. Obviously, the Bees are being pushed here in 86. They get a victory here. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat convinces everyone to say no to drugs in a public service announcement type way. And Tony Nardo and Kamala is up next as a final squash match of the day. Nardo, not a very well known enhancement talent at the time. Kamala comes out with Kim Shi and the Wizard, and ultimately kind of gets, punch, kick, chop, chop, big splash, 1, 2, 3, there we go. Steamboat, after the Intercontinental title, they teased that. This is before Steamboat has his larynx crushed on the guardrail, which is in November, a couple of weeks away from that. Biggest Intercontinental title feud, perhaps of all time, the Steamboat Savage feud. But without a doubt, that's a big deal. And we will close with that. We will enter the month of November. As mentioned, we don't have as many of these as I would prefer, although we're going to try and find some other places. But until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.